Question 14. It is the last question on the level 6 paper, so we would expect it to be a high level 6 question, so it's not going to be easy. It says the diagram shows part of a number line. Two of the fractions are not complete. Write the missing numerator in each box. Now we've got all sorts of fractions here, all with different denominators. So we've got fifths, tenths, 20ths, halves and quarters as well. So what's going to be required here is a secure knowledge of equivalent fractions and also adding and subtracting fractions. So let's have a look at what we've got. We've got 3 1/10 and we need to subtract a half from this. Well, the first thing to do is to change a half into tenths. So a half is the same as 5/10. So we need to do 3 1/10 take away 5/10. Well, if we get rid of that 1/10 to take us down to 3, we would then have to take away another 4/10. So if we do 3 take away 4/10, that will get us to where we need to be on this box. Well, 3 take away 4/10 would be 2 6/10. But the answer we're looking for isn't in tenths, it's in fifths. So the question is, what is 2 6/10 in fifths? Well, if you simplify the 6/10 and half both the numerator and the denominator, you'll get 3/5. So that gives us our first answer. So that numerator needs to be 3 to make it 2 3/5. Moving over to the second part of the question, this time we've got to add 3/4. But again, it might make sense to turn this into tenths. Now, 3/4 into tenths would actually be 7½ tenths. Now, obviously, that is not perfect because you're not meant to have a fraction within another fraction. But let's see what we can do. So if we were adding 7½ tenths onto 3 1/10, so 3 1/10 add 7½ tenths, that would give us 3 8½ tenths, because 1½ plus 7½ is 8½ But we want our answer in 20ths. So all we need to do now is turn 8½ tenths into 20ths. So 8½ tenths, how do we turn that into 20ths? Well, we need to use equivalent fractions. So we can double the 10 to make 20. So we would need to double the 8½. Double 8½ is 17. So we can see that it is 17/20ths. And there's the two answers. 2 3/5 and 3 17/20ths. But it's all come about from trying to use the tenths and making halves into tenths and also making the 3/4 into tenths.